So, while I was working on a form this week, under the Notifications and Redirects tab, where you configure the confirmation email for your user, I noticed this new button. What I want to do right now is run through the new feature, see what it's capable of, and see what its limitations are. Let's go. All right, so what I have here is a very simple donation form. It asks for salutation, first name, last name, and a donation amount. All the fields are required. If I go into the Notifications and Redirects tab and come down here to my confirmation email, when I click on Personalization, you see it brings up each of the required fields in my form. So what this allows me to do is I can fill in information. For example, I can say dear, and then add in the salutation, and then last name. And now I'm addressing my user by name and personalizing the confirmation just for them. Now if I go fill out this form and make a submission as Bob Robertson for $1, submit. You can see that the confirmation email I receive addresses me by name and references the exact amount of my donation. One of the first things to notice about this feature is that it only works on required fields. So if I added another field, let's say for middle name, but didn't make it required, and save and publish, that field doesn't show up in my personalization options, which is okay. Now my question is, what is the error checking available on this, and how can we break it? So the first thing I thought about was, what would happen if I decided to change the name or some of the features of one of these required fields that I'm using in the confirmation email. So if we come in here, and what if I wanted to change this to honorific? It lets me do that, and I'll tell you there's no change at all for the confirmation email. Everything works properly. However, what it won't let me do is I can't change the reporting label, and I can't change whether the field is required or not. Those are both grayed out and not able to be edited. And here's a warning right here telling you why. The field is being used in a confirmation email and must be required. So that's good. There's some basic error checking in here just in case you forget what you're referencing in the confirmation email. You're not going to break it accidentally by coming in and changing some of the features. Similarly, if I try to delete this field, I get a warning saying the element cannot be deleted because the result is in a notification email. So that's great. Next up for me is I use a lot of conditionals in my forms, and so I wanted to see how this would work with a conditional. So I have a form here that requires first name and last name, asks whether you're bringing a guest, and if you answer yes, you're bringing a guest, it asks for your guest's first name and last name. And you can see how this works. Under View and Enter, yes, I'm bringing a guest, or no, I'm not. In my confirmation email, I'm going to have it address the user, give it a nice note, then I'll say, are you bringing a guest? And we'll put their answer in there. And then we'll have the guest's first name and last name. And we'll save. When I fill this out, bringing a guest, and submit, the confirmation email addresses me by name, says thank you, I am bringing a guest, and there's the name of my guest. So everything works great. But what if I'm not bringing a guest? Well, unfortunately, because those fields aren't brought into the form because they're conditional fields, they're treated as plain text in the confirmation email. So now, when the user receives the confirmation email, they have this gobbledygook at the end, and it's no longer very useful. So that's the first big problem with this, is that it works well for simple confirmation forms, but not for anything more complicated where you're going to be including conditionals or anything like that. So, some features that I was hoping for which are missing. The first is being able to add conditionals within the confirmation email itself. So, something along the lines of if that equals yes, then we will print the guest first name and last name, and otherwise we'll just leave it blank. So this is similar to the Microsoft Word mail merge feature, and it would help us solve the issue of the conditional statements within a form without any real messy coding in terms of Finalsite needing to figure out whether they should show the fields or not. It leaves it up to us, the administrators, and I think that'd be really useful, not just for that, but for a lot of different reasons. The other feature that I think would be incredibly useful is being able to pull in the alternate results into the confirmation email and not just the text itself. This would allow you to configure this to be a little bit more user friendly, a little bit more user readable, or to just provide an easy alternate result in your confirmation email as opposed to just echoing back the selections that the user made. Besides that, the feature works exactly as expected, and I'm looking forward to using it.